The sun burned low over the endless plains, spilling gold across the dry, cracked earth. Dust rose in lazy swirls as a lone horse kicked up the trail behind it, hooves ringing hollow against the bones of the land. The wind whispered secrets through the tall prairie grass, secrets that no man dared fully understand. In the distance, a ranch sprawled across the horizon, its wooden beams weathered and grey, a fortress against the relentless wilderness. Barefoot and calloused, she walked along the fence line, her eyes squinting against the glare. Mary Lou had known struggle all her life, but she carried it like armor, hiding the softness of hope under layers of grit. Her small farm had barely survived the drought, and the men who claimed to help often left more destruction than aid. Yet she moved forward, step by step, stubborn and unbroken. Then he came, the giant cowboy, a man of impossible height and shadowed features, riding a horse as black as midnight, with a leather hat pulled low over eyes that seemed to read into the very marrow of a person. He appeared like a storm on the horizon, sudden and unavoidable, with a presence that made the dust itself hesitate. "Mary Lou," he said, his voice low, calm, but carrying a weight that made the air tremble. "I've been watching you, this land. It fights you, but it doesn't have to. Not if you do as I ask." She tensed, gripping the fence rail. "And what's that supposed to mean?" He dismounted with the ease of a man who owned gravity itself, boots crunching against the dirt. "Give me 5 strong sons, raise them to ride, to fight, to endure. And I swear your struggles will end. Your farm will thrive. Your life will change." Mary Lou laughed, a brittle sound, more from disbelief than humor. "You think I can just conjure sons out of the dirt?" He smiled faintly, the kind that didn't reach his eyes. "Not conjure, raise, teach, guide. The promise is in the future, but the cost, that's yours to bear." The wind picked up, carrying dust across their faces, and for a moment Mary Lou saw the vision he painted, her farm prospering, her children strong, the land singing beneath their boots. But she also saw the shadows, the moral weight of what she was being asked, the sacrifice behind each promise, the inevitable choices that might haunt her for life. A sudden roar broke the tension. From the horizon, riders appeared, a gang of rustlers who had terrorized the county for months. Their leader, a scar-faced brute named Calver, sneered from horseback, whip in hand. "Looks like we found ourselves some company," he shouted. The men circled like wolves, eyes glittering with malice. Mary Lou's heart pounded. The giant cowboy's presence felt like a shield, but she knew he wasn't invincible. Decisions had to be made quickly. Horse reins were drawn, pistols slapped against leather, and the dusty plains became a theater of danger. Every movement counted, every choice had consequences. The giant cowboy's hand rested lightly on the reins, calm but tense. "Stay close," he murmured to Mary Lou. "The night will be long, and the path we walk is darker than it seems." They rode together, dust clouding around them, the horizon a burning ribbon of gold and red. Mary Lou felt a strange pull, a mixture of fear and fascination, her pulse tied to the rhythm of his horse. Something unspoken lingered between them, a fragile tension that hinted at warmth in the cold expanse of hardship. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the rustlers closed in. The standoff crackled with the potential for violence, for death, for choices that could change everything. The wind carried a warning. The plains waited, patient and indifferent, while human hearts raced. Mary Lou realized that this promise, this strange bargain, had set her life on a trajectory she could neither refuse nor fully embrace. And as the first shots rang out in the dying light, she understood nothing would ever be the same again. Night had fallen like a velvet cloak over the plains, swallowing the horizon in deep indigo. The wind whispered through the dry grass, carrying the scent of smoke and danger. Mary Lou's heart still thudded from the skirmish at the ranch. But the fight wasn't over. Shadows stretched long across the land, and the giant cowboy's silhouette remained an unshakable anchor beside her as they rode. Through the darkness, the rustlers were gone, or at least hidden, but Mary Lou knew better than to believe the threat had vanished. Every rustle of wind, every snapping twig seemed like a signal of impending doom. Her hands, calloused yet tense, clutched the reins as she followed the giant cowboy across the uneven terrain. His horse moved like a shadow of the night itself, silent and sure. "You think they'll come back?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "They always do," he replied, eyes scanning the darkness, jaw tight. "Outlaws, liars, men with nothing to lose. They follow the weak, the hesitant. And right now, hesitation can kill you." Mary Lou's stomach twisted. She had never known life to be so fragile, so dependent on split-second decisions and the strength of another. She had faced hardship before, but never with a man like him beside her. The tension between them was subtle but undeniable, his calm authority against her restless fire. And as they rode, she realized she trusted him more than she had trusted any living soul. Hours passed under the relentless sky, the moon climbing slowly as the plains stretched endlessly before them. They found a small canyon to make camp, its jagged rocks offering cover and a measure of safety. Fires were lit and the smell of sizzling beef mixed with the metallic tang of gunpowder that still clung to their clothes. Why me?" Mary Lou asked suddenly, staring into the flames. "Why promise me something I can't just give freely? 5 sons. Is that even fair?" He looked at her, the firelight dancing across his rugged features, softening the hard edges. "Fair?" he repeated. "Life isn't fair, Mary Lou, but sometimes a promise can tilt it just enough to give someone a fighting chance. You're stronger than you think, but you'll need more than strength. You'll need cunning, patience, and courage." Mary Lou swallowed hard, the weight of his words pressing on her chest. She didn't fully understand the bargain she had entered, but she knew there was no turning back. The giant cowboy was both her protector and the architect of her new fate. A sudden noise shattered the fragile calm, a snapping branch, a whisper of movement. Both of them were on their feet instantly, pistols drawn, hearts hammering in rhythm with the restless prairie night. Emerging from the shadows was not a rustler, but a young boy, no older than 15, dressed in rags and wide-eyed terror. They said, "They're coming back," the boy stammered, pointing toward the distant ridge where moonlight barely revealed the outline of approaching figures. "Calver, he's bringing more men." Mary Lou's stomach knotted. The rustlers weren't just persistent, they were organized, and every second of delay could cost them everything. The giant cowboy didn't flinch. "We hold our ground," he said, voice low, commanding, as he handed Mary Lou a spare revolver. "Stay close. Follow my lead." The next few hours became a blur of tension. They dug in behind rocks and sparse vegetation, tracking the rustlers' approach. Every whisper of the wind, every distant hoofbeat became a countdown to confrontation. Mary Lou's palms were blistered from the reins, her lungs burning from adrenaline, but she didn't falter. Side by side with him, she felt a strange invincibility, as if their bond forged a shield against the darkness creeping in from every angle. The first shots rang out like cannon fire, echoing across the canyon walls. The smell of gunpowder mingled with sweat and dust, and the night became a chaotic ballet of bullets and shouts. Mary Lou's training, informal, instinctual, kept her moving, dodging, firing, relying on the giant cowboy's steady presence as her anchor. In the heat of the fight, she saw something that made her stomach twist. A rustler raising his gun at a bound horse. Without thinking, she lunged, her pistol barking in the night. The shot echoed, a violent punctuation to the moral line she had just crossed. The horse stumbled, the rustler fell, and for a moment, silence returned, broken only by ragged breathing and the rustle of terrified horses. The giant cowboy's gaze met hers. No words were spoken, but the understanding passed between them. Survival demanded choices, and choices demanded sacrifices. Mary Lou felt the burden of the promise anew, not just the 5 sons, not just the future of the farm, but the moral weight of life and death decisions she was now part of. As the night waned, the rustlers retreated into the darkness, leaving behind broken equipment, bodies, and a reminder that the plains demanded constant vigilance. Mary Lou and the giant cowboy tended their wounds, their hands brushing in the dim firelight, a spark of something unspoken stirring amidst the chaos. Tomorrow, he said finally, eyes distant as he scanned the horizon. We ride toward the next challenge. Calver won't give up so easily, and neither can we. And Mary Lou, the path you've chosen, it's only going to get harder. She nodded, firelight reflecting off her tear-streaked face. I know, but I won't falter. Not now, not ever. The first hint of dawn colored the plains, turning dust and rock to shades of amber and rose. The world felt both beautiful and merciless. And Mary, Lou realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about sons or land anymore. It was about survival, loyalty, and the fragile thread between trust and betrayal.